Welcome back to the Maelstrom, ladies and gentlemen. We have another Warhammer 40k battle report for you today. Today we're going to be doing Vital Intelligence from the rulebook. So we are playing 2,000 points, Blood Angels versus Tyranids of Hive Fleet Kronos. So we have 6 objectives scattered across the table. In this one, you score 5 points for each of the primary objectives you're able to secure. The first of those is to hold 2 objectives. The second is to hold 3 objectives. And the third is to hold more objectives than your opponent. So this one uses triangular deployments approaching from the corners. The Tyranids are going to be coming from here as the defenders, with the Blood Angels assaulting them from this side of the city. We are going to be playing this big chunk as one run. That way we have a little better line of sight blocking here in the center of the table. So that is it for the table. We will be right back with the armies.
So today I will be playing a battalion. For my HQs, I have Commander Dante as my warlord. I have Mephiston with Unleash Rage, Quickening, and Wings of Sanguinius. And I have a Primaris Chaplain with Artificer Armor for my relic, and he is going to be having Mantra of Strength. For my troops, I have 2 squads of 5 Sniper Scouts with camo cloaks, and a 10-man assault intercessor squad with a plasma pistol on the sergeant. In the elite section, I have 3 Blade Guard veterans, a squad of 5 shooting terminators with an assault cannon, a squad of 5 assault terminators with 2 Thunderhammer storm shields, and the rest have lightning claws. For my fast attack, I have 3 Outriders. And then my vehicles are 2 Bell Predators, a Vindicator, and an Impulsor.
Hive Fleet Kronos will be the representation today from the Tyranids. For our HQs, we have a Hive Tyrant with 2 pairs of Death Spitters with Slimer Maggots and Wings. We also have a Neurothrope, who is going to be our warlord, and he has Soul Hunger as his warlord trait. Hopefully we can pull a few wounds out of Mephiston with that over the course of the game. And then for our third HQ, we have a Tervagon. In the troop slot, we have 3 identical squads of Termagants. They have 10 guys with flesh borers so that the mama can pump some guys back into the squads. And they have 10 guys with Devourers. In the elite slot, we have 3 Hive Guard with Impaler cannons. Need to get some more models. Want to buff that squad up, but for now, that's all we got. And then I have 5 Zoanthropes. And then in heavy support, I have 2 Tyrannofexes with Rupture cannons. And I have 2 Carnifexes with dual Death Spitters. So that is it for the armies. Next up, we enter the Maelstrom. All right, deployment is complete. Blood Angels were down first. Eric, you want to walk us down this deployment?
So I have a squad of scouts on this flank, backed up by both Bell Predators and my Vindicator. Assault Intercessors, Outriders, and Mephiston are behind this Bell Predator, with the Impulsor and Scouts on this flank.
All right. You also have 2 squads of Terminators and Dante in reserve?
Correct.
All right. For the Tyranids, we have our Carnifexes on this flank, Hive Tyrant and Zoanthropes here. Then we have the rest of our monsters and our Hive Guard in the center, with the gaunt spread out to deploy towards which objectives are advantageous. But the Tyranids are completely deployed, no reserves. All right, so we will dice off to see who gets first turn. For the Tyranids, right in the middle of my stuff on a 2. And for the Blood Angels, a 6. First or second, sir?
I'll go first.
All right, Blood Angels are going to get things started for us.
So in the movement, my Impulsor rolled forward and dropped my Blade Guard and Chaplain out towards the Carnifexes. They shot everything into the Carnifex and nothing happened. Scouts ran to get on the objective. Outriders turbo boosted forward to try and minimize the damage coming in. Mephiston used Wings to get ahead of most of my army. Bell Predators positioned to fire on the Termagants and killed a handful of them, little over half of one squad. and my Vindicator shot into the same Termagant squad.
Yep, so his Vindicator did pretty well. The Bell Predators apparently didn't hear that they don't get -1 because they missed with half their shots. Still put a dent there, pretty good dent though. So that is it for Blood Angels. We'll be right back after the Tyranids have completed the bottom of 1. Tyranids turn 1 is up to the assault phase, and it was a destructive turn for the bugs. The monsters stayed still on the baseline along with the Hive Guard. The Gaunts here moved forward, but they did use their turn for an action for Raise the Banner on this objective. These Gaunts fled the street in terror after being cut to pieces last turn. The Tervagon did birth 10 of the Termagants back here, giving all the Fleshbore ablative wounds back. And then this squad moved forward as much as it could to hug cover. Down here, our flying bugs all moved to the top floor, and the Carnifexes split up to avoid a double charge. In the Psychic phase, Psychic Scream took out 1 of the Blade Guard from the Zoanthropes, and then their Smite obliterated the entire Scout squad. They rolled an 11 and killed all of them. The Neurothrope attempted to smite but failed, and then the Hive Tyrant threw mental interrogation to the Chaplain, and he threw the Horror down here to the box. The Tyrannifexes started things off in the shooting phase. Symbiostorm also did go here in the Psychic phase. This Tyrannifex fired first. Should have done them in the other order, but I did fire it first. Left this one at 2 wounds, and his second volley went here and took 3 wounds from this Bell Predator, while his Stinger salvos were able to kill off 1 of the Scouts. The rest of the Scouts went down from combined fire from the Broodmother and the Gaunts firing into the remainder, and that brought the rest of them down. First volley from the Hive Guard brought down the Bell Predator, and the first volley from the second Tyrannifex finished off the Vindicator. The Hive Guard used single-minded annihilation coupled with pathogenic slime on the Hive Tyrant to bring down all of the box. And then the Tyrannifex's second volley had also gone there, but didn't do any damage. Carnifexes combined here to bring down another Blade Guard and leave the third at 2 wounds, and then attempted to charge the Impulsor, but were unable to make that charge. The Blade Guard veteran is spending a point for a Blood of Bale stratagem to get him into this Carnifex. The Carnifex is going to be charged as a heroic intervention from 6 inches away. So we got that combat to work, and then we will be back. All right, combat concludes down here. The Carnifex gets 4 of its wounds ripped out by the Blade Guard and does no damage in return. And that is it for turn 1. The Blood Angels are coming back in the top of 2.
So, maneuvered my army to try and cover where my losses were. Bell Predator and Impulsor came around to shoot at the Zoanthropes and try and hold an objective. My Terminators and Dante dropped into the backfield, shot everything at the Hive Guard. Nothing happened. They all made their charges on the Tyrannifex, though.
Yep, 3 9-inch charges in there to the T-Fex, and then the Chaplain here, right?
And Mephiston into the Gaunt squad.
Yep, and then Mephiston to this Gaunt squad. All right, got several combats to work.
So, Assault Phase comes to a wrap. Destroyed the Tyrannifex and consolidated into the Hive Guard. No damage in return there. Killed a handful of Gaunts. They dealt him 1 wound in return, but he shrugged it off. My Chaplain dealt 1 wound, and my Blade Guard got 1 wound through to deal 2 damage.
Yep, so down to 2 wounds here, down to 6 wounds here, no damage in return. Unfortunate back here. Tyranid response in turn 2, coming up next. Tyranid turn 2 rolls to an end. The Gaunts that were here in the street moved in this direction, needing a 5 to be able to contest this objective. We rolled a 3 on our advance, so we went ahead and played Metabolic Overdrive to move them again. Lost 2 of them to get them in range of the objective. The Gaunts that were fighting Mephiston fell back to the far side of the objective to avoid the 6-inch heroic intervention from these guys. And hung around there clear of the range to be attacked. The Hive Guard fell back, and these Gaunts moved into position to try to screen for them. Shot here, along with shots from the spine banks from here and from here. They weren't able to get anything done at all. The Rupture Cannon did manage to kill Mephiston, though, and get him out of the fight. Down here, the zoanthropes advance to get in range of this objective, along with their neurothrope. Their smites plus the hive tyrant shooting were able to bring down the impulsor and clear the objective. This Carnifex fired and was able to bring 4 of the 5 wounds out of the chaplain, even with him having artificer armor. However, down here rolled terribly. Did 4 wounds, and the Blade Guard tanked them all and didn't take any damage. That was after attempting to smite the Blade Guard, including with a reroll and failing both of the attempts on 6s for our psychic test. The Gaunts here are charging into close combat to lock these Terminators up and try to give us a little bit of a breather. That will be it for the Tyranids up to the assault phase. We got a combat to work, and then we will be back. Combat's roll to an end. The Gaunts charge in to no effect against the Terminators and lose 5 plus another 3 from morale. Here, the Carnifex and the Chaplain did nothing to one another, and same thing here. So not much happened in the combats there. A handful of Gaunts were slaughtered, and that was about the end of it. Blood Angel response in turn 3, coming up next.
So Dante used Upon Wings of Fire to come back to my backfield, and used Descent of Angels to charge the Hive Tyrant. Assault Terminators moved around the Termagants to charge the Hive Guard, and my Assault Intercessors moved forward, shot the Termagants, bringing down 3 of them, and charging into them to mop up what's left.
Yep, and then here, the Bell Predator fired here, did a grand total of 7 wounds and killed 2 Zoanthropes. Not been a productive game as far as dice go for the Tyranids. Got several combats to work, and then we will be back.
So assault phase comes to a wrap. Assault Terminators managed to cut through the Hive Guard. Assault Intercessors cut through the Gaunts. His Carnifex did manage to cut my Chaplain down finally, but in return, my Blade Guard cut through the Carnifex.
Yep, at that point, the Tyranids are going to call it. There is nothing we're going to be able to do to avoid being tabled in a turn or 2 here. Just too many Space Marines left, even with the handful that there are. So that will be a Blood Angels victory. That will be a Blood Angels victory after they messily dismantle the Tyranid horde. Several things that I took away from that game for the Tyranids. First off, I definitely should have put my Gaunts in a position to intercept some of that deep striking traffic. I just did not count on those Terminators getting there, and when they did, it destroyed that entire end of the army. With the Hive Guard locked up, and then the Tyrannifex is going down, and the Carnifex is failing to get cleared early enough, it was just a matter of time until I was slowly taken apart. I could see it early on. I hoped with that initial damage on turn 2 it would be enough, but unfortunately it was not. Got to get some new units too for this army. In particular, I'm looking to pick up some Excrins and Hive Guard for the shooty approach to Tyranids. I think that would help some, but they have been out of stock forever. Just cannot seem to find them whenever they are in, if they've been in at all. If you liked what you saw today, make sure you give us a like and a subscription. The subscription is the most important metric to us. Lately we have been growing tremendously. We've almost reached 1,000 subscribers as of this recording, which isn't much in YouTube land, but for us, we're a humble channel looking to grow, and we are very appreciative and humbled beyond words at all of you that have done subscriptions in the recent days. As always, guys, thanks for spending time with us today at the Maelstrom.